In this episode, I'm going to show you to take a $7 Nerf blaster and turn it into a 150 FPS beast. So the blaster in question today is the Nerf Firestrike. We're going to take this blaster from a stock standard Nerf blaster and only using $40 turn it into an absolute beast. Now that $40 also includes the $7 price tag on this blaster, so already $7 up, but that shouldn't make a big difference. Now, this won't be a regular how-to. It's definitely going to show you everything you need to know and how to build the blaster, but it's not going to be too in-depth. So, let's get straight into the video. Alright, so before we get into the video, I've got the two cameras set up. So I've got my phone set up here and then the GoPro up here. So this video should be pretty cool. Get some different camera angles, which will be mad. So to start off with the stuff we've got. So we've got the Firestrike as the main blaster, $7. Now we're going to need 2 lengths of brass. Mine costed $8 each. And then our biggest spring, which is $10. And last but not least, we need something to hold all the brass together. So this is 5-minute rapid setting epoxy. That was $7. So that brings us to exactly $40 in parts. Now I wanted this to be $40 in parts, not all up together, because if you're going to count in tools and everything that I use, it's going to be in the hundreds for tools. So $40 parts blaster, let's go. Let's open up our Firestrike out of the box. I'm not even going to show firing for it. I'm going to fire it off a couple times just to show you what it came from, because I'm pretty sure we all know what standard Firestrike performance is. It's great. It's pretty good for, you know, a stock Nerf blaster for kids, but for us, that spring is horrendous. I can just like literally grab it with my elbow and prime that. Like, what is going on there? Let's get our darts out, because, you know, the more darts the merrier. So Firestrikes are great blasters for high FPS. They are awesome pistols, great plunger tubes as I fire that dart. Really efficient, really good, so I'm really excited for this mod. My last Firestrike was great. I loved that thing. It performed really well. And this one is going to be the predecessor to that, so it's going to be absolutely amazing. Really excited to get into this build. Let's crack open the screwdriver set and unscrew this beast. Hey, there we go. Alright, cool. So in the Firestrike, as you can see, awesome plunger tube here. Great dud fitting in it. Good spring. Our catches back here. This is our plunger. So you draw this back and then release. It sends the dart flying. Here's the wiring for the laser, which we don't even really need. I'm actually not even going to minimize this. I like the look of the Firestrike. It looks really cool. Just definitely want to go for that performance. So let's get our plunger assembly out. Put everything else to the side for now and get working on this. So plunger deconstruction, very easy. Just rip it out. Twist this front nozzle off to get in. These things are always a pain in the ass to get off. I hate trying to get these things off. Hey, there we go. Alright. So hard to get off all the time. They couldn't think of a better system to just pop it in. They had to make this weird twisty thingy. Like, how do they put that on in the factory? Alright, so this is our main unit. This is where we're going to get all the power from. So we need to make a good seal, pop out the AR, fill it with brass, and this thing's going to be an absolute powerhouse. So to get your AR out is very simple. You're just going to pop these hooks off on the side, and this should just come right off. Be very delicate. You don't want that to snap off. Now sometimes solvent welded. Yeah, this one's not, sweet. Comes straight off. So that's our plunger tube. Nice big plunger tube. And then the AR will simply just pop right out like that. That's your air restrictor right there. Air restrictor assembly. So this bit we're not even going to need because of the way I'm going to set it up. But if you're going to replicate this mod, just drill straight through here like I've done with the big drill bit. Then you can assemble back in. And that's pretty much your air restrictor done. This is where your plunger head strikes. So front of the plunger head's here. It will strike this plate there to soften the blow and just keep the parts maintained really for safety in the blaster and just longevity of it to make sure nothing breaks inside. You can keep that, but definitely drill that out and get rid of this air restrictor. But for me, in this mod, I don't need this. But for me, I'm definitely going to drill this one out. So we'll just get the drill, or we can Dremel it out, either or. Now I think I might have to Dremel this one out, so off to the Dremel station. Cool, so now we've got a nice clean air path for our air to flow through directly to our brass. Now that's much better, awesome. I'm going to slide in there perfectly. Now we've got a nice clean shot through it. Awesome. Now a nice brand new piece of 9/16, always nice. So on my last Firestrike, one of the downsides to the way how I had it set up was a lot of dead space. So I want to minimize that as much as I can by putting the brass as close and the loading position as close as I can to where the plunger tube ends. And by that, I think I'm going to put it there. I'm not even going to use this front piece on it. What I am going to do is I'm going to epoxy putty the sides around it. So where the plunger head is going to strike, it's going to strike directly onto the brass, giving us a ton more power and a lot more air flowing straight through. So I'm going to go ahead and epoxy putty that up. Now that will break the $40 limit. So if you were going to do this, I'm already breaking the $40 limit. The $40 limit was for parts, and I've already got epoxy putty lying around, so I'm going to use that. But if you're going to set it up for the $40 way, do it how I had my Firestrike. Cool. So just a bit of putty, mush this up. We're not even going to need too much. Enough just to coat that outer ring and fill up the air. And then we can 5-minute epoxy this straight in there, which means the plunger head is going to directly hit the barrel, launching the dart out. That is going to mean a lot of power. Cool, so we're going to fill up this end because this is the end that goes inside the plunger head that way. Now we can sand this away. I can contort it to how I want it. Just make sure it gets on there. So I'll just mold it in, push it in. Doesn't even matter. As long as it's filling up that crevice around the outside, we are all good. Awesome. Now I can just cut that out with the brass, like that. And out that comes. Now I've got a clear shot straight down. Now while we let that piece dry, just go over our spring setup. So what I've got is, I'm pretty sure, a 8 kilogram Oz Nerf turf spring, and 8 kilogram is, I think, an understatement for this. I reckon this is 10 kilograms. This thing is massive. Huge spring, very hard. It was an absolute effort to get this thing on here, really hard. So this plunger head's already ready to be installed. So as soon as that dries, we can just go ahead and put that on in there, and it's going to be a beaut. So the way my Firestrike's going to load is, I'm going to have a slot in the side here where I can put the Sthlm in and then put the brass back, and it's going to load in. So now we're going to go ahead and cut that out and get that all lined up. There we go, much better piece, all cleaned up. So that should fit in our PT now. So just test fitting, and perfect. That fits on beautifully. And then as you can see down the barrel in there, it's all filled, no dead space. The brass is going to come all the way up to the front of it there, giving us that awesome air seal. So what we are going to need to do is cut a small bit of 17/32 to go on the front here. Just about that much, just so we've got enough for this 9/16 to slip over the top. And the rest of this brass is actually going to move. So the 9/16 will say put here with this bit of 17/32, but then this 17/32 will come out, load the dart in, and then we'll push it back into the breech up here. So vacuum loading is going to be possible. I'm going to have to look out for that so that I don't vacuum load the dart back into the plunger tube, because that will be really bad. So let's get on to that. There you go, so that's all we needed, just that little part there. And fit it in to our piece here. That's going to sit flush in there. Perfect, that is all we needed. Wunderbar. So now we're going to need to mix up glue for that, but I'm going to cut out everything else before I do that. Now I need to make the 9/16 piece that will slide over the top of that one. So that'll slide over there. So we need to elongate this a bit, so when I draw out the 17/32, the 17/32 has something to still hold on to. So I think I'm going to go about that much. So I'll just grab a pen. And that should be the perfect length for what we need. Alright, cool. Let's go cut that out. So after that, we'll just give it a quick sand out, deburr everything. There's no sharp edges on it either, because we don't want to get ourselves cut. So couples over nicely. Awesome. That's really good. Happy with that. So that slides in. 9/16 over the top. 17/32 through it. Beautiful. Cool, really good. Happy with that. Breech. So now we will mark out how far this gets seated into the 9/16. Cool, now we can make our dart window. So we'll put everything in the blaster, and then we can glue everything together, chuck it all back in, and this should work. So there to there. Now this blaster will still be able to front muzzle load, so if I need to, I can still use full length darts. Not ideal, but I can if I want to. So let's go cut out that dart window. Whew, that's hot. Cool. Now that's also pretty much the last dremeling we need to do. So what I'm going to do now, give the inside of here just a quick sand, just to make sure there's no burrs on it. Mix up some epoxy, and then we can glue everything together. So now that, when we draw back, that'll close the breech, open it up, drop our dart in, and then that'll seal, and then fire our dart away. Awesome. This brass at the back here will completely seal the breech, then lock into the back, lock into the front, sorry, of our plunger tube here. Shooting the dart off, and then we'll just pull that out, load another one in, push it back, ready to go again. Awesome. Let's get this glued together. Alright, so I'm just going to mix it up on the Firestrike box. Thought we'll do some recycling there, besides just throwing it out without having a use. Now, just give that a good mix. You know it'll be done because it's changing colour like that, and you'll get that signature epoxy smell. Cool, so first of all I'm going to epoxy our piece here into the PT just for a better seal. Go hammer and tong on this, don't even worry about overusing it, because the better seal we have, the better performing our blaster is going to be. So that's really caked on there now. Now just push in and twist, and that's going to be a really good seal on there. I might just get a cloth to clean that up. Awesome, now that is never going to come off. Next up is our brass piece, our small piece of brass here. You may want to sand up your brass before trying to epoxy it together. You might have some troubles if you're trying to just glue it straight, but the epoxy should hold. This is some pretty strong stuff, and it dries quite fast as well, so winner winner chicken dinner. And slide that into our piece, giving it a good twist as well, just to make sure all the epoxy seeps down. Just going to rest my finger inside just to line it up. Now that is all lined up in there. Drain the outside in epoxy as well for that strength. That's also going to seep into the epoxy putty, which will make sure that the epoxy putty is held on there strong as well. So just pretty much a whole epoxy blob around here. Now get our brass and line it up correctly. So that needs to be lined up there for me, like that. The brass doesn't move. Push in the 9/16. I'll cake more epoxy over the top of that as well, just to make sure that it's not going to move and that we have the best seal we can possibly have. Awesome, happy with that. So now seat that into your blaster. Make sure that's still straight, because you don't want to have it glued on the other side and then try and flip the brass over or cut it off and have this whole dilemma. So I'll just hold it here for a while. I'll be back in a minute once this epoxy is dry. Now in order for our new spring to catch, we're going to need a bigger catch spring, so we may have to double spring unless I can find something, or just use this big spring here. Might just quickly cut it down, cut off a few rings, and that should be our catch spring. So lucky I had that one, glad I found. And that is pretty much set now. That's not moving, so we can get our 17:30 seconds, and that will go through there. So that's completely set now. That'll feed back through, loading the breech. Awesome. Now that is a bit slidey for my taste, so what I'm going to do is very, very simple. Just grab some big pliers, and all you're going to want to do is just press down on that ever so slightly, just changing the diameter of it. Now that, as you can see, is going to grip the 17:30 seconds a lot harder, so I might just grip it a little bit more, just a tad. Have I done it? No, there we go. In it goes, giving us a nice tight fitment, so that when I'm running and this is moving about, this isn't going to fall out. I physically need to pull it out, push it back. Now that's our breech and plunger tube assembly done. Now that is going to be hard hitting assembly, so let's get this all back into the blaster. Really happy how this went, so yeah, let's get it all back in there. So what I've not realised is that this side of the Firestrike has this, you could say, support. So we're going to have to need to cut this out. As you can see, Nerf plastic isn't the most brittle, so I can cut away that really easily, revealing our dart door. So that'll slide out like that, flow back. Awesome. So everything's in, I'm pretty sure. Get our dart storage back in. We're going to need our trigger. And of course, guys, don't forget, very important, your attachment tooth. So guys, that brings us to the end of the how-to. So as you can see, a very cheap mod and a very effective mod. This thing is hitting like an absolute tank for the size of it, and will definitely be by my side in all my next Nerf wars. So like I said at the start, not a very in-depth tutorial, but I pretty much told you everything you need to know, step-by-step process about how to do this, everything I did so you can replicate it, just not with all the narration that I usually do. Really love this type of mod. Always wanted a side-loading Firestrike like this, much quicker to reload and breach, and gives you so much more power as well. Now this mod is pretty much to remove any dead space that was originally there. Like in my last Firestrike, I had about 5 centimeters worth of dead space, which leads to a power decrease. But with this style, it's just a side loading, push back, prime, fire away, gives you so much more power and is much easier to reload as well. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. It really does mean a lot to me. If you want to catch up with me when I'm not making videos, check out my Facebook links and Instagram in the description. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.